So Robert, what kind of users will Liquity have once it's launched?
We have three main use cases or types of users. The most prominent one are the borrowers. The second are stability depositors. And the third main use case or user type is the staker. So for the borrower, you can just think of people who are already invested in Ether and who want to hold their Ether for longer, so they can then use our system to take out a loan in an LUSD, which is a stable coin, so that they can stay invested but at the same time spend the money or reinvest it into something else. So that's the borrowers. Then the second user type are the stability depositors. So there I need to give you like a little bit of a background how the liquidations work, because the borrowers could be subject to liquidation if their debt becomes too high or if their collateral becomes too low in relation to the debt, so that their positions would be liquidated. And as our main mechanism to liquidate the loans, we have a stability pool where every holder of LUSD tokens can deposit tokens into. So that's our main mechanism, basically, where the system can take the LUSD from to repay the debt of the liquidated borrower. So that basically gives people a way of investing into the pool. The reason they do that is because with every liquidation, even though they lose some portion of their LUSD, they would also gain the collateral in Ether from that position. And normally there would be a net difference, a positive difference, so the liquidations would be beneficial to them. And also there is a second incentive, they also get like a continuous payout or reward in LQTY token. Which brings us to the third use case, which is staking of the LQTY token. The LQTY token can be staked, which means that it would become eligible for receiving the protocol fees. We have two fees, and those would just accumulate for the stakers of the LQTY token. And these are the three main use cases.
What kind of users would be within the group of borrowers?
So I would classify our group of borrowers by their risk tolerance. So there will be borrowers who are more risk-averse than others. So generally the risk-averse borrowers who may have like a long-term perspective, they would open a position, create a Trove as we call them, and keep its collateralization ratio relatively high. So maybe at 200 or 300%. They wouldn't be that much concerned about having like a very capital efficient position, but they are more concerned about being safe, on the safe side, so they're not subject to liquidation. And given the fact that we don't charge interests on them, they would basically just benefit from the fact that they can have a debt open as long as they want without needing to repay it, as long as the collateralization ratio is high enough. So that's like the risk-averse type of borrowers. They usually have maybe like a long-term perspective. Then we also have the more risk-seeking type of borrower who has maybe a shorter-term perspective. That could be traders who just need some money for like some specific purpose in LUSD, so they can maybe just lock up some Ether, take out a relatively high amount of LUSD against the Ether, so a relatively low collateral ratio, and use that LUSD maybe in another protocol or for some other reason and repay it maybe within a week or even within a few days. Then maybe there is also another category, which are the leverage seekers, who not only just want to borrow against the Ether that they lock up, but they also want to amplify their exposure to Ether. So what they can do is lock up some Ether, then take out a loan in LUSD, and then exchange the LUSD for more Ether, put that Ether back to the position, and then take out even more LUSD against that increased position, then sell those LUSD again, and so on, so that you can basically leverage up your position and reach the risk level that you're still okay with.
Perfect. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing those.
Thank you so much.